Okay, before I even start this review, I'm just going to say this. Run. Do not walk to go see this movie. Hey guys, welcome to Happywax TV. Holy shit. I just sat down and watched Come to Daddy, and I'll tell you, I mean, this is everything I want in this style of movie. It was fantastic. It absolutely was. Very quickly, it's directed by Ant Timpson. It's written and the story is done by Toby Harvard. Bravo, dude. Like where this movie starts and where it leaves you it's honestly, I would compare it to the movie Martyrs, the Pascal Laugier movie Martyrs. They're not the same as in story, but I mean, when you sit down and when you watch the movie Martyrs, okay, you have kind of a general idea of where you think and what this movie's about. And then where you end up at the end of that movie, you're like, holy fuck, like, what? What did I just see here? Do you know what I mean? And that's the same with this movie. It starts off in one spot, and I mean, dare I even say it's a little bit slow in the beginning? It's more like of a drama. Do you know what I mean? Like for the first act, every act of this movie is its own story in of itself, okay? But the first act alone, I'm thinking, why are they saying this is like a horror thriller? I can see the comedy because the humor is great in this movie, but I'm like, okay, this is just a drama. But no, by the time you're done this movie, it's like, whoo, like, did I just go to the gym and do laps or something? Like, it's crazy, man. So it stars Elijah Wood and Stephen McNaughty. Now, we all know who Elijah Wood is, and you should know who Stephen McNaughty is. Most notably, one of my favorite movies, he was the star of that, was called Pontypool, about the DJ who stays on air while there's a zombie kind of apocalypse going on. I don't want to give the list of anybody else in this movie. I'll tell you, I don't even want to talk about anything beyond the first act of this movie, because if I do, it'll spoil it for you. And trust me, this is one of those movies where, and they do a pretty good job in the trailer too, of not telling you or giving too much away, but the less you know about this movie going into it, I promise you, you'll be better off for it. So do not find spoiler reviews on this movie until you watch the movie. Do yourself a favor, because, I mean, it starts out, Elijah Wood is Norval Greenwood, who I think he's 35 in this movie, and he gets a letter from his estranged father asking him to come visit, and they kind of reconnect. And that's what he does. He goes to this beach house where his dad lives, Gordon, played by Steve McNaughty. And it's just them kind of reconciling, but it's so awkward. And Steve McNaughty's, or Hades, sorry, not McNaughty, McHady's character is like, he's a prick to him. He is like, he loses his phone in the water. He calls Elijah Wood on his bullshit stories. He's just like always in his face. He's just calling him all these names. Like, you got to see it. It's very uncomfortable. As a viewer sitting there, is like, wow, this guy is like an absolute prick. And it's just a drama. It's just a drama movie for the first act of this dad and this son kind of trying to reconnect, but the dad's just an asshole, and Elijah Wood's trying to call him out on it sometimes, but he's kind of shy and not very, doesn't have like a big voice. So he does it kind of in a roundabout way, but every time he tries, the dad just shuts him down. You know what I mean? And it's like, man, oh man. But I don't want to say anything past the first act, because I'll tell you, once like every act in this movie, like I said, is a different story in of itself, and to say anything beyond the first act would ruin this movie for you. It's shot beautifully. I mean, it's shot in a style where they just don't give a fuck. I mean, not everyone's gonna like this movie, but I'll tell you, if you get what they're trying to say, I mean, you're gonna love it. And it takes you on a trip like Martyrs did. I mean, Martyrs starts out a certain way, and I mean, you almost think Martyrs is going to be a creature feature at one point in that movie. Okay, and then what it ends up being is something totally fucking different, and it's mind-blowing. And I mean, this movie is not mind-blowing, but I mean, from where it starts to where it ends up, I mean, if you're not impressed and blown away, like, check yourself for a pulse. Like, this movie is fantastic. It's getting great reviews, and rightly so. I mean, I loved this movie. I mean, it's got everything. It's got humor. It's got fantastic dialogue, and I mean, it is written perfectly for what they try and do in this movie. I mean, it's crazy. Like, they shoot it, whereas you're either going to accept what's going on or you're not, and they don't give a fuck to the people who don't get it or who don't want to accept, you know, what goes on in this movie, and it makes it that much better. But the humor is on point. The gore in this movie is on point. Just the story and the dialogue, and when these people, like that, when the dad and the son talk to each other, and the conversations beyond that, like, it just works, and it's a great pace. It's a 90-minute movie, and it just keeps moving. I mean, again, I mean, if you want to say anything, you know, to pick at this movie, I guess you could say the first act is a tad bit slow, but it's done that way on purpose to kind of lull you into this sense of like, what the fuck is this? Like, what's going on here? Do you know what I mean? Like, this movie's good, but it's not what I thought. Oh, wait, no. Wait a minute. No. Second act. Bingo. Okay. This is fucking nuts. And then you get into the third act and you're like, okay, I had no fucking idea. Like, it's crazy. It really is. You know, it's low budget fucking gold, and I love this movie. So anyways, that's all I'm going to say about it. I mean, run, don't walk to see this fucking movie. I promise you, you will fucking love it. If you've seen it already, leave me some comments down below and let me know what you thought of it. And if you haven't seen it, please do yourself a favor, watch this fucking movie. I promise you, you will love it. And then come back here and leave me some comments and let me know what you thought of it. Like, I love this fucking movie. To give it a rating, I would give this a strong 8. This is one of the best movies, like horror, kind of thriller, comedy style movies that I've seen this year. And I've watched a shit ton in the last, you know, month and a little bit of this early 2020. And this is hands down, like, probably the best, if not one of the best horror movies, you know, thrillers that I've seen this year. So anyways, I'm stopping there. Yeah, come to Daddy, check it out. Leave me some comments, guys. And as always, stay scared.